Welcome to Evean Hazaer Halacha series. We are in part 14c of the class. We are in Siman Aleph in Halacha Yud in the Bihudah Teshuvah in Ot Yud Chet. We began in Bihudah Teshuvah in Ot Yud Chet, where the Bihudah Teshuvah says, Ein berheitev b'shem Ram Matrani. It says, look into the berheitev in the name of Ram Matrani. We did the whole berheitev of Ot Chav Gimel. To remind ourselves, what did Ram Matrani say? Let's go and see the berheitev itself. The berheitev says, Mi sha'ala le'eretz Yisrael, somebody who went up to Israel, v'lo alta ishto imo, and his wife did not go up with him. V'rotzeh lisha sham isha acheret, and he wants to go ahead now and marry another woman there. V'choshesh lechem Rabbeinu Gershom, and he's afraid of the ban of Rabbeinu Gershom. What should he do? Comes Ram Matrani and he says, Sholech la get al yidei shaliach. Let him go ahead and send a get through a messenger. U'mishaer hazman she'efshar lahagia get liyado. Let him go ahead and calculate the time where it's possible for the messenger to be able to reach the wife and deliver the get into her hands. V'noseh acheret. And then let him go ahead and get married to another woman. Comes Ram Matrani over here and he says, if a person went up to Eretz Yisrael and his wife didn't go up with him and he found somebody else over there, he shouldn't marry her. Why? Because you have the problem of the Chem of Rabbeinu Gershom. So what should he do? He should give a get to the Shaliach, give enough time, however much time it's going to take the Shaliach to reach the wife. Let's say in this case, it's 1 week. After that 1 week of time passed, you could be rest assured that the get was delivered to the wife and he could go ahead and get married to another woman. Now, Rabotai, let's see what the Bihudah Teshuvah has to say after we know that. So he said, I'm berheitev b'shem Ram Matrani. Look into the berheitev in the name of Ram Matrani. The bottom line is what we want to see from over here. I'll just tell you outside. How do the Ram Matrani allow a guy to get divorced through sending the get with a messenger and giving it enough time that it should be delivered, and then he's allowed to go ahead and get married to another woman? We're going to see today the Nodeh Bihudah is not happy with this Ram Matrani, because he's going to go ahead and show you that there is a very big problem in such a situation. So he says like this, V'ayin b'teshuvah Nodeh Bihudah Siman bet. Look into the response in Nodeh Bihudah in Siman bet. Shenishal al kiyutzeh, he was asked a similar question like Ram Matrani's case. What was the case over there? Be'echad she'echer zman rav mishto, there was a guy that he delayed from being with his wife for a very long time. He postponed from coming back home. Uba shalich mi ishto, and came a messenger from his wife, shishlach la get, that the husband should go ahead and send her the get. But he didn't want to send her the get completely as she desired, meaning according to her terms. But rather he made a condition with the messenger, get, to go ahead and hold the get back, lizman, for some time. And then the shalich went on his ways. He went on his way. Rabotai, listen to this very carefully. The situation over here is similar to the case of Ram Matrani. You have a guy who delayed from coming home for a very long time to his wife. So the wife sees there's no purpose of waiting. Why should she chas v'sham lo leinu be in a aguna? She wants to move on, but she can't move on without a get. So what does the wife do? The wife sends a messenger that this messenger should accept the get and bring it back to her. So this way she's going to be divorced. However, what did this husband do? The husband said, listen, I don't want to play by her terms. I'm going to make her life miserable a little bit more. What did he do? He says he makes a condition with the shaliach. You are only allowed to deliver this get after some time. Let's say it was 6 months. I'm just giving you a random number. And then the shaliach went on his way. Now, Rabotai, let's see the question. Let's see the question. Im ata shekvar avar hazman, if now, where already that time period has passed, 6 months, v'rachok hamakom, and the place where his wife lives is very far away, she'i efshar lachkor, there's no way we're able to go ahead and find out if she received the get or not. Im nimtzar get miyad hashlich li ha'isha. She lives so far away that it's impossible for us to find out if the shaliach delivered the get to the hands of the wife. Now comes the question, Rabotai. Im mutar lazel likach acheret al samach shebavadai nimtzar get li'ad ha'isha. Is this person allowed to go ahead and get married to another woman based on the fact that for sure the shaliach went ahead and he delivered the get to the hands of the wife? Rabotai, before we continue into seeing the answer of the Nodeh Bihudah, how would you judge this case? If I look back at the case of Haram Matrani, where he spoke about a very normal case. A guy was moving from America to Eretz Yisrael. His wife didn't want to go up with him. Haram Matrani says, no big deal. Send a get with a shaliach. Give him some time to be able to deliver that get. Wait that some time, let's say a week, and afterwards go ahead and get married. I would have thought to say in this situation, where Haram Matrani says it's mutar to send a get with a shaliach, how much more so, Rabotai, in this situation? Over here, he has delayed from coming home to his wife. Maybe she's going to be an agun if I don't allow the get to be sent with the shaliach. Not the get to be sent with the shaliach, meaning to say that maybe I should say that the get was delivered, so let him go ahead and get married, because maybe she's going to be stuck forever. So how much more so I should be able to use the reasoning of Haram Matrani and say, you know something, to this husband? Listen, you sent the get, you gave the messenger enough time to be able to deliver, say 6 months. 6 months has passed. You're free to go. Go. You go. And then if she received the get, she can definitely get married. Rabotai, listen to what the Nodeh Bihudah says. Listen how he breaks down everything in fine detail. I would have never thought, if I would have stopped over here, I would have thought to say that the halacha should be like Haram Matrani. Very simple. If in that case of the case of Israel, right? If in this case with Haram Matrani, the Breheitav, if over here, Rabotai, where he left his wife in a normal case, he went to Israel, Haram Matrani says, send the get with a messenger, wait that period that it takes him to deliver the get, and then go ahead and get married. That's a normal case. But in our case, Rabotai, it's a not normal case, it's an abnormal case. He has delayed for a very long time. So by me saying right now that he's married, I'm basing it off Haram Matrani. It's perfect, Rabotai. Over there it's a normal case, over here it's an abnormal case. How much more so I should allow the shaliach to go ahead and be able to deliver the get and allow this guy to get married? I shouldn't have any questions with this. I shouldn't have any problems with this. No, Rabotai, comes the Nodeh Bihudah, and the Nodeh Bihudah says something very fascinating. Rabotai, this is what it means to think like a Talmud Chacham. Listen to this. He lengthened very much in this detail. Now, before we're going to get there, let me just go over here. As we're going to do the review, I just want to show you something. Okay. Rabbi, I'm just going to highlight this for you guys. I just want to show you something. Don't look at the question, okay? Because we'll see that's the question. But don't look at the question. For now, I want to just bring out a point, okay? Rabotai, there is a concept in the Torah maybe it's too yellow. 1 second, guys. Maybe that is too yellow. Okay, that's what I want. Okay. Rabotai, there is a concept in the Torah which states, Chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto. Rabotai, remember this terminology? Chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto. What does that mean, Rabotai? A messenger always does his job. Chazaka means we have something to hold on to, that we know that whenever I send something with a messenger, I should be rest assured that it got done. I don't have to worry, Rabotai. It's a concept in Halacha also. Chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto. That we say a messenger always does his job. Now remember this. And let's go back over here. Comes the Nodeh Bihudah, and the Nodeh Bihudah lengthened very much in this detail of the Chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto. Are we going to go ahead and are we going to say the rule that a shaliach does this job? If I'm going to use that rule, Rabotai, comes out over here that this guy is able to go ahead and then get married. One more time. If I'm going to use the chazaka shaliach oseh shlichoto, that I have a chazaka that a shaliach is always going to do the mission, whatever he was sent out for. It's like a mailman. You know, you have these, Amazon Prime, these trucks. You order, it's coming to your house. That's what we're saying over here. Whenever you appoint a messenger and you send them out on a mission, Halacha states it's a chazaka. You know it's going to get done. Shalich oseh shlichoto. The messenger is going to go ahead and he's going to do his job. Now, if I'm going to use that logic, Rabotai, in our case, it's very simple. Since the guy, meaning in our case with the Nodeh Bihudah, not the case with the Behetiv, not this case when the husband went up to Eretz Yisrael, but rather our case over here. Now that I'm thinking, maybe over here also, wow, it just hit me. Maybe over here also, that's what probably Haram Matrani was thinking. That Chazaka, Shalich oseh shlichoto, that the Shalich always does his job. So we know for sure it was delivered. That's why he's able to go ahead and get married to another woman. And we don't have the problem of the Chemar of Rabbinu Gershom. Wow, that's a good point. Now, Rabotai, let's get back over here. If I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this logic of Chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto, that a messenger always does his job, is going to come out in our situation that after the guy sent this guy away, let's say it was 6 months that he told him that he should hold the get back. After his 6 months, he should go ahead and he should get married without any problem. If I'm going to look at it like that. But Rabotai, came the Nodeh Bihudah and he made a difference. Whenever you're dealing with a shaliach, if he's going to go ahead and he's going to do his job, where it's only based solely on him, versus when it's based on him and the wife. Rabotai, listen to this very carefully. I'm so sorry, Rabotai. Give me 1 second. Okay. One more time. Whenever I use the concept of the chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto, that a messenger always does his job, I could rely on it 100%. But the Nodeh Bihudah is going to come and he's going to say 1 second. In our particular case, and that's why he's not going to be happy with the Haram Matrani also, in that case also. When you want to go ahead and you want to use this rule, the principle of the chazaka shalich oseh shlichoto, Rabotai, but what about the wife? The wife also has to receive it. If it's only dependent on the messenger, you're right, I'll use this rule. But what happens if it's also dependent on the wife to receive the get? So maybe the shaliach, hazaka shaliach ose shalichoto. Maybe the messenger is going to go and do his job. He's going to go ahead and he's going to try to deliver it. But who said she's going to want to accept it? So if I'm going to look at it like that, then I can't say hazaka shaliach ose shalichoto, because you have more than one party involved. So one more time, Rabotai. When it's only one party involved, when you tell the messenger, go deliver X, Y, and Z. He went and he did it, no problem. Chazaka, shliach, you should know he got it done. For example, Rabotai, let me give you a case. You tell a person, you tell him before Erev Shabbat, there's such a thing as called a Techum. Techum is the city boundary up to where you're allowed to walk. And after that line, you cannot walk. Now I'm going to try to explain it to you so we can have a better understanding and appreciate it. If you were ever in New Jersey, upstate, somewhere where you have a few houses over here, like on one block, 5, 6 houses. The next house is an hour away. So from that block, whatever the end of the house is over there, 2,000 amot, which is about 3,500 feet, 2,000 amot, you're able to take steps. I'm not talking about even carrying right now. I'm just talking about how many steps you're allowed to take. Up to 2,000 amot, you're allowed to walk. More than 2,000 amot, you're not allowed to walk. That means, let's say if a person lives... One second, I'm going to see if I could do this. Let's say you have one house over here. Now, the next house, Rabotai, okay, it's not working out, but let me see if I can do it. Here. Rabotai, let's say like this. Let's say right over here, let's say this is the last house on the block, on the city edge. He has up to 2,000 amot to walk. Let's say 2,000 amot is going to end right over here. All right, let me do this. Let me put E for end. Okay, Rabotai, you get that's like one line. Okay, something. Let me do this. Let me just put H as for house, so this we can see it. Fine. So now the 2,000 amot end right over here. Now, if this person decides to walk from over here, from this area, and then continue walking up to here, he has to stop right over here. Because remember, Rabotai, the next house is another, like say, 2,000 amot. Doesn't matter. But you could only go 2,000 amot. What happens if on Erev Shabbat, I tell my friend, or my son, doesn't matter, listen, do me a favor, go put the Erev Techum for me, so I can walk another 2,000 amot. That means he's going to come over here, E is for end, and he's going to place a meal worth, let me put M, a meal worth of food right over there. It's as if it's my residency also. So now when I'm my house from here, right, like right from over here where I put the period, right there, let's do it like this. From here, when I'm going to start walking from here, I have 2,000 till E, and then from M I have, meaning that's the same place, which is the meal, basically E and M. From there, I have another 2,000 amot till H, right over here. Now, Rabotai, listen what happened over here. When I give the person on Erev Shabbat the 2 meals worth of Erev Techum to go put it over there, I don't have to worry if he did it or not. The rule is Chazaka sheshliach oseh shluchato. The Chazaka states that a messenger does his job. The next morning on Shabbat, I'm able to walk easy 4,000 amot. I don't have no problem. I don't have to worry about nothing. I come, I see it's missing. No. It probably was there. It probably was eaten after and sometime later in Shabbat. I don't have to worry nothing. I have to, in my mind, I know, I'm confident what the Halacha says. The Chazaka shaliach oseh shluchato. Chazaka states that a messenger is going to go ahead and he's going to do his job. This is what it means, Rabotai. But this is specifically, guys, when it's only when that mission is only dependent on the messenger. But in our case, Rabotai, it's also dependent on the wife. And look how the Nodeh Bihudah is thinking so beautiful. Let's go back over here. So now that we know that, let me just do it one more time. And he lengthened very much in this detail about the concept, about the rule, where we're going to say that a messenger does his job. And he concluded that there is no difference if you send a messenger for a Torah mission, on a Torah mission, or on a rabbinical mission. So comes the Nodeh Bihudah and he says, there's no difference when it comes to the principle that a shalich or shlichoto, whether it's from the Torah or whether it's from the rabbis. The only difference you're going to have in this, the only difference you're going to have when you send a messenger is, can the one that send him in general, say I'm the sender and I'm sending and I'm having a messenger go ahead and deliver something. Can it be that because of my messenger, there could come out a problem for me? That's the only thing you might have when it comes to chazaka shlichoto. But otherwise, everything is fine. So one more time, Rabotai. If I'm going to send a messenger to do something for me, to deliver something for me, Halacha says you should know he delivered it. You don't have to worry about nothing. The only concern we have is, maybe something happened on the way and he didn't deliver it. Now that's going to be my problem. There's going to be a stumbling block that comes out and it's going to be my problem. That's the only problem you might have when you're dealing with chazaka shaliach, the chazaka shlich or shlichotom. That's the only problem. But Rabotai continues the Pitchit Shur and he says, Ela kol ze im hadavar biyad shaliach. All this that I just said on top with the Nodeh Bihudah, when we say that the chazaka, the shalich, does his job, that's only if I'm leaving it only in the hands of the messenger. Aval binidun didam, but in our case, ulay lo tirtze ha'isha likabel haget. Maybe the wife is not gonna wanna accept the get now. Ve'av shehi shelachto, even though she was the one that sent the messenger to pick up the get. Maybe at that time she wanted to get divorced. Maybe because she was, hot-blooded, she was angry with him. And since the husband, he pushed away that moment of sending her the get right away, he wanted to play games with her. So now she says, I want to play games with him. Maybe, Rabotai, she no longer wants to get divorced. Maybe now she wants to go and play his game. Now he cannot get married. And since the husband pushed away the moment to deliver the get when she wanted it, maybe now she doesn't want it because it came 6 months later. Continues the Nodeh Bihudah and he says, and especially the dayanim that arrange the get, everybody gets paid. The way the Nodeh Bihudah wants to understand over here, but if we're dealing with a case where the dayanim that arrange the get are not getting paid, you have over here the absence of money, we have another problem. We don't say this chazaka that shalich or says shlichoto. We don't say that the messenger is going to do his job. We can't say it. Rabotai, look what the Nodeh Bihudah did. Guys, I know it might be too much, but I'm trying to break it down as much as possible. But the bottom line, what we want to see is the Nodeh Bihudah had exactly or similar case to Haram Matrani. Haram Matrani's case was very simple. Send the get, wait the amount of time, and she's divorced and you could get married because she received the get. Same case came to the Nodeh Bihudah where a guy delayed from coming back to his wife. The wife sent her own personal messenger to get the get. The husband didn't want to go by her terms. He told the messenger, he made a condition with him. He said, listen, do not deliver the get. Hold on to it. After 6 months, let's say, deliver it. And then he left. Now the husband wants to know, 6 months have passed. Can he get married or not? Comes the Nodeh Bihudah, and the Nodeh Bihudah says, if we were dealing in a normal case, where you're dealing with a shalich or says shlichoto, that we have this chazaka, that a messenger is always going to do his job. If it was a normal case, it was based, if it was in the hands of the shaliach, then I could have said, yeah, everything went fine, everything went through well. There might be a problem that something might happen to the messenger, and therefore it could backfire on the owner. But in general, we're going to say that a shalich or says shlichoto, that a messenger does his job. But Rabotai, in our case, a little bit problematic. Because over here, it's not only in the hands of the messenger now, it's also in the hands of the wife. Maybe the wife is not going to want to go ahead and accept the get now. Because maybe she wants to get even with him. And not only that, in general, the people that arrange the divorce, the one that deal with the divorce papers, they get paid. In our case, he wants to say that if there was an absence of money, if people didn't get paid, then you can't even use this case. You can't even say the chazak shalicho shlichoto. When can I say that a messenger does his job? That is specifically in a situation where the people get paid, the dayanim get paid. But if there's going to be an absence of money, if they didn't get paid, you can't use this principle. You can't use this principle. So therefore, what did the Nodeh Bihudah conclude? V'lachen, therefore he wrote, en lahakel, the husband should be lenient. You should be lenient in this case. In our case, where the husband went ahead and he wanted to play games with his wife, and then the wife wanted to go back and play games with him, in this case we're going to say, yes, you waited 6 months, you shouldn't be lenient and go ahead and get married. This husband is not allowed to go ahead and get married to a second wife unless he knows for 100% sure that the wife received the get. Vikatav Sham, and he wrote over there, the Nodeh Bihudah wrote over there, the Divre Haram Matrani Shevia Berheitav B'Sivkat and Chav Gimel, the words of Haram Matrani that the Berheitav brought in Sivkat and Chav Gimel, Lo Nihirin Le, he says, he doesn't like it at all. Ayin Sham says, look over there, he's not happy with his words at all. So Rabotai, when we brought this case over here, right over here, when the Pitchet Yeshua said in the highlighted red area, Ein berheite b'shem Ram Matrani, and then he said, look into the Nodeh Bihudah, where it was a similar situation. The Nodeh Bihudah wants to disagree with Haram Matrani. He says, I don't understand. On what basis did you go ahead and allow this guy to send his shaliach and not go and go find out if she really received it? No. He said, send the shaliach, meaning send the get with the messenger, wait, let's say 1 week in that case, and then go get married. Based off on what? You want to base it off on the chazaka, shalich, or shlichoto. If you want to base it off that a shaliach does his job, that's a problem. You can't say that. Why? When can I say the shalich does his job? That's only if it's only in his end. His only job is to deliver it and finish. There's no other party involved. It's only the sender and the messenger. But in our case, it's the sender and plus the receiver. There's a third party involved over here. Even though it's her own messenger, maybe she changed her mind. So therefore he comes with the Nodeh Bihudah and he says to Haram Matrani, he says, I don't understand. How in the world did you go ahead and allow the case by the guy who went up to Eretz Yisrael? Maybe when he sent the get with the messenger, yeah, you waited a week. You could have waited 6 months. You could have waited a year. But one second, but maybe the wife didn't want to accept the get. And if she didn't accept the get, how did you allow him to get married to the second wife? So that is the whole problem with the Nodeh Bihudah on Haram Matrani. Now, Rabotai, before we do the Hazaer in English, I want to go through the Berheitav one more time without going through every detail, without explaining it, just reading it with you guys. So we are in the Pitchet Yeshua in Ot Yudchet. Ein berheitav b'shem Ram HaMatrani. Look into the berheitav in the name of Ram Matrani. Ve'an b'teshuva Nodeh Bihudah Siman Bet Shenishal al Kiyotze Bazeh. Look into the response in Nodeh Bihudah in chapter 2, where he was asked on a similar case like that of Haram Matrani. What was the case over there? Be'echad sheikh erzman Rav Mishto. There was a certain guy that he delayed for a very long time from coming home to his wife. Now came a messenger from his wife. She shlach la get, that he should send her the get. He did not want to send the get completely according to her terms. Rather, he made a condition, a stipulation with the messenger. He told him, listen, hold on to the get for some time. The shliach went on his way. Question. If now that prescribed time that he told him to hold on to has passed, in the place where the wife lives, it's very far, where you're not able to go and find out if she received, if the shaliach delivered the get into the hand of the wife, you're not able to find it out. Can this guy go ahead and marry another woman, relying on the fact that for sure the shaliach went ahead and he delivered the get to the hands of the wife? He lengthened very much on this concept where we say that a shaliach, that a messenger is going to do his job. And he concluded that there's no difference when it comes to shaliach or shlichoto, whether it's from the Torah, whether it's from the rabbis. The only difference, the only problem you might have over there is the sender, maybe something wrong is going to come out because of the messenger. Maybe there might be a problem to the sender because of the messenger. That's the only difference you have when it comes to chazak or shlichoto. But everything else, Rabotai, it's good. Continue the Nodeh Bihudah. All this is specifically that we're going to say that the chazaka shaliach or shlichoto, that is specifically if it's only in the hands of the messenger. But in our case that is being judged at hand, since maybe the woman is not going to want to accept the get, so now it's not only in the hands of the messenger, it's also in the hands of the woman. She has to be able to accept it in order for the get to be effective. Even though she's the one that sent the messenger, doesn't matter. Maybe at that moment when she sent the messenger, she was angry, so at that moment she wanted to get divorced. Since the husband, he pushed away that moment, he didn't take advantage of that moment, he wanted to play games with her. Now she doesn't, maybe now she doesn't want. Now she wants to go ahead and play his game. Now he cannot get married to another woman. Especially, when do we say that shaliach or shlichoto? That's especially in the situation where we know that the people that arrange the get, they get paid. However, if you can look at the side, but if you can look at the side where money is absent, where the people that arrange the get, they're not getting paid, you cannot say this chazaka of shaliach or shlichoto. Therefore, conclude the Nodeh Bihudah, ein lahakel. Therefore, the Nodeh Bihudah said that this guy should not be lenient, meaning to say he is not allowed to take another wife wherever he is. The only way he's going to be able to take another wife is making sure that the get reached the wife's hand and she received it. Otherwise, he's not allowed to marry another woman. וכתב שם דברי הרב מטרני שהביא הברייתא בספקת נחף ג' לא נהיר לי עין שם. And he wrote over there, the Nodeh Bihudah wrote over there that the words of the Haram Matrani that the Berheiter brought in Sivkat Nachav Gimel, he's not happy with it, he's not pleased with it. And we explained why. Because how can Haram Matrani go ahead and say, how can he use the principle of Chazaka, Sheshalich or Shlichoto? How can he use the principle that a messenger does his job? That specifically if it's only dependent on the messenger, if it's only him and no one else. But in our case, or in that case, also with the case of Israel, it's not only dependent on the messenger, it's also dependent on the wife for her to go ahead and receive the get in order for it to take effect. How can he go ahead and just say that blank statement and say, send the get with the messenger, wait the prescribed time, and then go ahead and get married? What, you want to rely on chazaka, sheshalicho, sheshalichoto? 1 second, but in our case, you can't say that. Because it's not only in his hands, it's also in the hands of the wife, and maybe the wife didn't want it. So that's why the Nodeh Bihudah went ahead and he disagreed with Haram Matrani. Rabotai, let's just see a review in English. Part 14c, Siman 1, Halacha number 10, Pitchit Teshuvah, and number 18. The case at hand that we were discussing, a husband was away from his wife for a long time. The wife sent a messenger asking for a get. The husband agreed, but said to the messenger, wait before giving it. Don't give it right away. The messenger left. Later, after the waiting time passed, the husband asked, can I marry another woman now? I assumed the get was already given to my wife. The question, do we say we rely on the rule Chazaka Shlich Oseh Shlichoto? A messenger always does his job, so we can assume the wife got the get, or do we worry maybe she didn't really get it? The answer of the Nodeh Bihudah, he writes at length and says, the rule a messenger always does his job applies both in Torah and rabbinic laws. The only concern here is maybe the husband who is the sender might get into trouble because of the messenger. In this case, there are doubts. Maybe because remember, Rabotai, it's not only dependent on the messenger, but it's also dependent on the wife. So that's why the Nodeh Bihudah said maybe the wife changed her mind and no longer wanted the get. Maybe she only wanted it at the exact time, and since the husband delayed, she doesn't agree anymore. Maybe the scribes who prepared the get paid, and in the case where money is missing, we don't say the rule of shalich oseh shlichoto. Conclusion: we cannot assume for sure that she got the get, therefore the husband may not marry another woman. The extra note that we saw towards the end, the Brehetiv quoted Rav Matrani, who allowed in a similar case, but the Nodeh Bihudah says he disagrees with that leniency. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen ve'amen.